Ancient man walked on the jungles. He always had to be careful about the predators around. It was the need to survive. Predators like lions, tigers, they all wanted to eat him. He was food for them. He was their lunch. And he had to keep protecting himself from all of them. And he devised different ways of protecting himself. Are we much safer today compared to those days? Are there still predators around who want to devour us? Here's one which is particularly worrying, which I want to talk about today. Let's jump in.
Three, two, one.
Let's go.
My struggles with diabetes made me research extensively into the topic of food. One of the things which come up strongly as a health issue is this topic of sugar. Is sugar really that bad for us? What can we do about that? Why are people not doing anything about this? Why are governments not doing anything about this? Let's look a little more at that. Sugar is a carbohydrate and is available in natural forms in nature. It's available as sucrose, as fructose, as glucose, and lactose. It depending on where it's found in fruits, in honey, or in milk. Sugar in the form of glucose is essential for a human survival, as it provides the necessary energy for the body cells and particularly for the brain. But what's happening today is we are consuming a lot of added sugar, and this added sugar is something the body can't process anymore. Sugar formed in the natural form in fruits, honey, milk, etc. is good enough to fund the body's energy. But the moment it gets refined into these white crystals and then pumped into our body just can't handle it, and it leads to metabolism issues, insulin misbehavior, leading to diabetes, obesity, heart diseases, etc. And sugar is found in added form all around us. We can't even figure out where it is. It's there in things which you probably don't think it has. There are dishes which are spicy, and you will realize if you talk to the chef that he's added a little sugar. Why do these people add sugar into food? Sugar in its natural form is complex and needs a lot of energy to burn it and break it down into sugar. And it's quite safe for us, it's very good for us. But in its purest form, it's been processed so much that it easily gets into the bloodstream. As an experiment, I have checked by drinking 1 glass of sugarcane juice and then checking my blood sugar at different intervals after that. Hardly any spikes. You'll be surprised. Hardly any spikes. But a glass of sugar is probably equivalent to about 50 grams of white sugar. Glass of sugarcane equivalent to 50 grams of white sugar. And you try and take 50 grams of white sugar and then check your blood sugar, you will find the spike. It's a huge difference in consuming in the natural form and in a processed form. Our body is very adept at identifying and getting sugar in. You don't need to feed it added sugar. It picks it up from the food you give, the fruits, the milk, the honey and rice and wheat. It can take it from grains, it can take it from proteins, it can take it from fat. When you're fasting for a long time, it actually burns your body fat and converts it into ketone, which is used for creating energy. You don't need to give it added sugar. But why do people continue to add sugar into food and feed us? What's the reason? The food industry has found that adding sugar balances the flavor of the food. If the food is a little bitter or sour, this actually balances the flavor and makes it more palatable. so sugar is quietly added. For some form of food, they have found that this is also a good preservative, like in jams, jellies, and baked products. Sugar contributes to the texture and mouthfeel of foods. For example, it helps give baked goods their soft, moist texture and contributes to the smoothness in products like ice cream. During cooking or baking, sugar undergoes caramelization, which contributes to the color and flavor of food like bread crusts, cookies, and roasted vegetables. Sugar is often used as a relatively inexpensive ingredient that can improve the flavor, texture, and shelf life of products. It makes it cost effective to alternatives like, say, jaggery, etc. But the most important thing is that sugar is seen to have an addictive property, similar to many other drugs which are addictive. So once you get used to having that little sugar in your food, you get addicted to, you want it all the time. So you crave for those foods. So the people who are selling you those foods, they all try and add that so that to get you hooked onto that. It could be food which is warm food, which you buy, which you order from restaurants, which would have sugar in it, just to get you hooked. And of course, all the processed, wrapped food which you buy off the shelf. Overall, we seem to be bombarded with this weapon. They have weaponized sugar. They want us to get hooked. They want us to get used to it. These are all added sugars. How do we combat that? How do we protect ourselves from this? Read labels carefully. Check ingredients. Look for added sugars on the ingredients list, which can appear under various names like high fructose, corn syrup, sucrose, glucose, dextrose, maltose, cane sugar, and honey. Check the added sugars line in the nutrition facts label. The lower, the better. Prioritize whole food. Opt for whole unprocessed food like fruits, vegetables, whole grain, nuts, seeds, and lean proteins. These foods are naturally low in added sugars and high in nutrients. To me, the biggest one is I found a change in myself when I started to eat more at home and reduce how many times we ate outside. In most part of the world, they check with you about your any allergies, and you please specifically, if you can tell them about no added sugar, they will go check with the chef on which foodstuff they are adding sugar and tell you. I'm not so sure about India, but most part of the world. But so important to ask them. But still, if you have a choice, I would ask you to eat at home rather than eat outside, because you can't make out what's been put there, how much sugar. Be smart about sugary drinks. Limit or eliminate colas, sweetened teas, energy drinks, and flavored coffees. These are usually high in sugar. Drink water or unsweetened infused drinks. Fruit juices are fine, but fruits are better than fruit juices, obviously. Be careful about all those health drinks, especially the ones we feed children with, which are supposed to give high energy. If you look closely, the source of energy are added sugar there. Choose healthy snacks. Avoid packaged snacks like granola bars, flavored yogurt, cereals are high in added sugar. Opt for fresh fruit, nuts, and plain yogurt instead. Limit processed food. Reduce reliance on packaged foods. Anything which comes in a wrapper off the shelf from the market, it's not good. They have to put in ingredients to preserve them, to make it more addictive. So be careful about all those. Being a diabetic, I have managed to have tea, coffees without sugar now, completely. So you can gradually reduce your dependence on sweetness in sugar and need for sugar in the food that you eat. If you really need to add, and you can do that sparingly. Use natural sweeteners like stevia, etc., which is a good alternative. It's important to educate yourself, stay informed, keep learning about the different names for added sugars and impact. Do educate yourself, stay informed, keep learning about the different names for added sugars and the impact they can have on health. The more informed you are, the better choices you can make. Be mindful of portion sizes. Even foods with natural sugars like fruits should be eaten in moderation. Plan your meals in advance. I found that very useful. So you are not just walking in, and so you plan your meal on what would you like and what's the kind of mix you want between the three macronutrients of proteins, fats and carbs. Try and make sure that every carb usage has a mix of protein or fat with it so that it's not eaten in isolation. Have a healthy alternative ready, because sometimes you are craving for sugary stuff. At these times, I have tried to use with carrots and eat carrots, raw carrots. Works for me. You could find out something else which is a healthy alternative to that. In summary, it's important that we educate, be aware, and know what's happening around us. This is slowly ruining our health. If you're not careful, you will find that sugar, which was supposed to be our friend, will become our biggest enemy. Stay aware and stay unstoppable. Till next week.